Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing this program from across the world. Welcome to another broadcast of The Competitive Edge. Again, if you're looking at this program for the first time, the focus of this program, The Competitive Edge, is to really provide you with a rich content of information to help you attain the competitive edge. So, whether you're in business or you're the average individual who wants to achieve more in life, the objective of this platform is to provide you with the kind of information that helps you to find your competitive edge and to find your wins. So, of course, if you believe that this program can bring benefit to persons in business or someone who wants to achieve more in life, I want you to just call that friend, tell that friend that the competitive edge is on. They could be on their way to work and they could be listening to this program. They could be in the kitchen doing some food with their headphone or whatever. They could be listening to this program because there's so much to unpack in this program. Today, we will be doing a deep dive into what it takes to become a subject matter expert. And of course, my colleague is going to share on that thought, and they're going to bring in other concepts as we go into today's program. But if you ever thought of becoming a subject matter expert and you want to know perhaps various pathways that subject matter experts are using, well, today is that day that you get an opportunity to learn from us. In the studio with me today, I have Jamil, and Jamil is a great mind. She is the founder, she's the CEO of Just Your Broker Inc. So, if you are in the field of import and export and you want to, you know, someone with knowledge and experience and someone with a high level of professionalism, you have Jamil. So Jamil has joined us today, and she definitely will be contributing to that conversation of what it takes to become a subject matter expert. You're going to learn a lot about Jamil and her processes to become who she is today. And I'm truly proud of Jamil. She's young, she's woman, and she is saying nothing is going to hold me back. All right. So you have a lot to learn from her. I also have Peter Scott, and Peter, he represents Legacy Chronicle. And of course, Peter talks a lot about having your master plan. It is his belief that with a master plan, you're best ready for life. Without a master plan, you're just drifting through life. And your life is too precious for you to be drifting through life. And of course, we have Paul, Paul Whitehouse. Paul Whitehouse is a subject matter expert when it comes to finance. He's the guy that says to you, you are approved. Regardless of where you are with your FICO score, he's the kind of guy that's going to say, okay, you don't have the 680, but guess what? He's going to work with you to ensure that you elevate up, your FICO, and then he works with you to ensure that you access the much needed funds to grow and scale your business. Before I ask each party to introduce themselves in the brief, I want to say that this program comes to you with the kind compliments of 10X Branding and Marketing LLC. In the event that you're wondering what is 10X Branding and Marketing LLC, it's a New York-based company. And what we do, we help you to build a strong brand. All right. And using data, we help you to 10X the success of your business. The program also comes to you with the kind compliments of Global Capital Inc. Global Capital Inc. Plays a tremendous role in helping businesses to understand financial instruments, meaning debt, equity, credit, creative financing, and hard money lending. It's not enough to understand financial instruments in the language of Global Capital Inc. It's equally important to understand how to access financial instruments. Many businesses across the world struggle to access capital. Paul is an expert in helping you here. But once you access the next step, it's equally important to understand how to leverage, because many, rising stars in business, you access capital, but guess what? You then had a strategic leverage and game plan. So the debt becomes a liability, and that's the last thing that you want. That's like you waking up to Halloween, even before you go to sleep. And that's not what you want. And the last part of it is what we call debt mitigation. Well, debt mitigation, puts a smile on your face, and it should be music to your ears, because here is where you really get to exercise a fair degree of control over how much you're paying for capital. In the financial world, eh, as a rising star in business, they always say the cost of capital is high. But guess what? When you understand how to mitigate debt, you will no longer say that. Why? Because you will recognize that you have control over the cost that you're paying for capital. So, Global Capital Inc. is that company that really helps you to understand the financial ecosystem and so much more. So, with that being said, I'm going to start with Jamil. Jamil is visiting us today. She has made a commitment to at least show up here once a week to really whet our appetite with what her profession is all about. Jamil, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll come to Peter and then to Paul.
Hi, my name is Jamil. I'm a customs broker in New York. I help people with importing and exporting by processing their customs clearance. So if you guys want to reach out to me, you can go on my website, justyourbroker.com.
All right, thanks for that share, Jamil. Peter, a little about yourself, your brand. You're mute, Peter. You're mute.
That would make a world of difference. Right. So just good to be here again to communicate our value to our listening audience. And as Gary mentioned, my name is Peter Guscott. The service that we present to our community, we work with four groups of people: pastors, ministry leaders, entrepreneurs, and the career professionals. And what we empower them to do is to transform their life story or their professional expertise into books, courses, and seminars. The knowledge industry is one of the fastest growing industry in our times, and so we empower individuals to package their knowledge and their expertise as a product that can be passed into the community to empower their audiences. And so the topic today of subject matter expertise is right up that alley, because individuals, everybody has a story. How do you take that story? We help individuals to take that story to empower their community.
All right, thanks for that share. Paul Whitehouse, can you tell us a little about yourself? Say in the event that there's someone out there who is viewing this program for the first time and they don't know who is Paul Whitehouse, give us a brief introduction.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Gary. Paul Whitehouse, one of the owners of Patriot Business Finance Consultants, and we're here to help you advance your business. You need capital to advance your business, certainly. You need a lot more than you need more than just money, but we can help you with the money. That would be equipment leasing, equipment financing, real estate financing. And what we do specifically is find the least expensive money first on purpose. Best deal structure, best term. Because every dollar that you save from financing and every other angle of your business goes right to your bottom line. You save on expenses, you profit more. And that's what we all like to help you do. Thank you.
All right, thanks for that share, Paul. Well, there you had it, audience. You heard from three professional, and what I'll do now, we're going to do a deep dive shortly into, you know what it takes to become a subject matter expert, the pathways to becoming a subject matter expert, and you need to commit to this process. But just before we get into that, I'll just play a few commercials and then we will be right back.
The High Net Worth Investor's Guide, where art meets science. Explore tools, processes, and systems that empower you to accelerate your journey to a 7-figure business. Access smart funding solutions for 6- and 7-figure enterprises. Harness capital for multiple income streams. Master the art and science of debt mitigation to build wealth faster. Experience comprehensive business support to propel your success at a budget that suits you. The High Net Worth Investor's Guide is tools, processes, and systems that influences success. Business with 10X Branding and Marketing LLC. Our expert team specializes in enhancing your brand's visibility and connecting you with your ideal clients. We employ strategies that increase reach, leaving a lasting impact and driving client conversion. Trust and credibility are vital in businesses and excel in building them even with a limited budget. Our cost-effective approaches ensure you get the best results without overspending. Ready to boost your business cash flow? Contact us at 332-235-T99 and let 10X Branding and Marketing LLC guide you to success. Our focus is on elevating your visibility, which directly translates to growth. Experience the power of effective branding and marketing with us and witness your business thrive. Portal Summit. Are you a rising star in business academia, public speaking, sports, law, medicine, or an influencer? Becoming a best-selling author can open doors to connect with top figures in various fields. Discover how the Bestseller Portal team can assist you. 1. Assisting clients in the creation, refinement, design, and publication of their books, biographies, and autobiographies. 2. Strategizing and executing promotional campaigns while navigating global markets and linguistic diversity to enhance the visibility of your literary works. 3. Nurturing our clients' transformation into esteemed public speakers and influential thought leaders. 4. Elevating your books into dynamic digital learning content. 5. Cultivating multiple streams of income from your literary works and beyond. Enroll today for the prestigious Bestseller Portal Annual Summit and position yourself as an eminent authority and trailblazer within your chosen sphere.
All right, welcome back to the Competitive Edge. Before we went to the commercial break, we left on the note that in today's program, we will expand on the processes that subject matter experts use to get to that point. And I do believe that becoming a subject matter expert in today's work environment, in life today, it is a necessity. Why? Because I do believe that as a subject matter expert, you have more negotiation capabilities. And the stronger you are to negotiate from a position of strength, it sets the stage for you to position yourself to earn more, either in your business practice or in your work life. It is absolutely necessary to position yourself to become that subject matter expert. So, of course, we're going into this topic today because as a rising star in business, perhaps you can start to think about how our systems and our processes can help your team to master, different processes to help you to achieve more in business. I want to leave one tips before I come to Jamil. I believe that one of the area that I believe subject matter expert is so relevant in is sales communication professional. I do believe that every business, they need the sales communication professional on their side has a subject matter expert. So my talking today as it relates to what it takes to becoming a subject matter expert is going to be centered around, what it takes to become that sales communication professional. So do pause a little bit. So just before I go into what it takes to become a subject matter expert as a sales communication professional, I will give Jamil an opportunity to talk to us a little bit about her platform. Jamil, I want to start by asking you a few questions that I believe will help the audience to understand you some more. You have spent quite a number of years as a broker, and I know that you feel tremendous joy, happiness, and excitement doing what you do. Would you care to tell us what is your process? I mean, you're an expert, you're a professional, you love what you do. What does your process look like in becoming and mastering your expertise in this field?
So what I did early on in my career, um, I basically took advantage of any learning opportunity at the job I was working at. I would ask a lot of questions. I found out that the VP of the company was doing training, so I just signed up and did everything possible to learn as much as I could. I volunteered to learn more information. That's pretty much how I did it.
Okay. What would you say is the learning curve? What timeline? I mean, I know depending on the subject that
Mm,
we're dealing with, um, for some people it takes 6 months, a year. For some people it takes 3 years or 4 years. For some people it takes longer to become that subject matter expert. What was your timeline like? What was the time cycle like for you?
um, well, just to get my license wasn't as long. I got in the industry August 2016. I took my test October 2017, and then I passed it. And then I got my official license. I think that was in November, I believe, November 2018. Um, even whenever you get your license, it doesn't automatically make you a subject matter expert. There's still a lot to learn. So you just have to keep learning. Even now, I'm
Yeah.
still learning all the time. So it just depends on someone may think I'm a subject matter expert just because I passed the test. It depends. It's like kind of subjective.
Okay. So in 2016, 2017, you got your license. It's about 6 to 7 years now since you have been licensed to practice in your field. What advice would you give to, a young person that wants to get into the brokerage industry? Um, is it a lucrative platform? Is it, you know, it calls you to work outside of the work hours? What advice would you give to a young person in that field?
I feel it's lucrative only because of my past experience. I worked for the government previously. The way that you increase your income is much easier than when I worked for the government. I could switch jobs and get a minimum of $8,000 increase. So I think that's the best way is job hopping, learning everything possible at whatever company you jump to, and just like I said, continuous learning. You want to learn more skills. So every job I went to, I was always updating my resume with another skill. You can most definitely make. I made during the time that I worked for other people, I was able to make six figures. But like I said, I job hopped and I did a lot of webinars. I've actually been rejected from a job before because the guy said he felt like I was gonna want more. Some jobs are not gonna want someone that's gonna be want to learn things, so you'll
You're
get
too smart.
rejected. Yeah, I think he probably thought he was gonna lose his job, but I didn't want his job anyways. But some people are not gonna wanna hire you just because they feel like you're gonna learn more than them or be more of an asset than they are.
But that's funny, because that's the flip side of what we try to accomplish, Paul. Because we said here, becoming a subject matter expert is going to open up some doors for you. But then,
Mhm.
when people are thinking small, they see you as a threat now, so they close you out of the organization, so that the boss get to
Yeah.
see you. Oh my,
Mhm.
so funny, so funny. Um, I just have two more questions. The way that I see brokerage, I see it as being labor intensive. What would you say about that?
It's most definitely, I would most definitely say it's a lot more work than I used to do. Like I said, I previously worked for the government. I feel like I work harder now than when I worked for the government. You have to really earn it, but like I said, the potential for the money that you can make in the industry is way more. So it depends what your goal is. What do you just want, an easy ride, but you're not going to get paid that much, or are you going to put in the work and make more money? What you mentioned earlier about working outside of the hours. If it's your own business, of course, you're going to work outside of normal working hours. If you're working for someone else, you're going to feel less inclined to do it, but those companies are going to want you to.
Okay. Now, the last question. One of the things that we talk about all the time is smart ways to make money. And do believe that the smartest way to make money is to make money when you sleep. Um, as I look at your field, one of the things that I see is that in your
What is
practice,
it?
it's
Oh,
not
there
the
you go.
easiest thing to, it's all right. It's not the easiest thing to digitize your platform. And let me say what I mean by digitize. Um, as a lecturer, we can, Jamil just, she pop off. Yeah, but this is an observation. One of the things that I observed in certain fields, it is not easy to digitize the platform, meaning that as a lecturer, you can develop your content and you can have your content become put your content on a digital learning platform. So you don't have to be there for persons to access the information. But in certain fields, you have to be there to execute on it. So I think it perhaps limits, your potential to generate income. Uh, Hi, welcome back, Jamil.
Yeah,
Your internet.
I have to turn my alarms off actually. As soon as my alarm went off, I couldn't hear sound anymore.
All right, it happened. Yeah, we were talking about processes, business cash flow processes, and one of the things that we talk about is the smartest, safest, best way to make money is when you sleep, and the processes that you develop can create those possibilities for you. And in your field, as a broker, while I know for sure your teaching content can be digitized and monetized when you sleep, the actual work itself, um, you have a limitation in digitizing that process.
Well, I do feel that there are limitations because look like, even like when I train people for the exam, I don't want to digitize it only because I feel like not everyone's gonna understand the same thing. So you have to really
Mhm.
like customize the learning. That's why I don't like to, a lot of people that teach the customs broker exam, they usually like teach certain things and focus on that. But I just don't feel that's the way to learn because not everyone learns the same. Some people are going to understand more concepts more than others. I think your focus needs to be on whatever they need help with. So that's the only reason why. Even when I'm m- meeting up, talking to clients over the phone, if they haven't imported before, like I said, the regulations change, the product, depending on what that is, everything has to be customized. Sometimes there's language barriers. That's like a big challenge too, trying to explain
Mhm.
something to someone. And it's pretty clear when you feel you're explaining it, but they still don't understand what you're talking about. So there's a lot of things that come into play that you have to kind of like keep tweaking how you're talking and trying to understand based on that person because everybody's different.
Yep. Well, you've made some valid and strong points. I want to thank you for that answer, those answers. Um, what I found, this is not a question, it's just a statement. In the US, they have incorporated AI into the fabric of doing business. I'm able to call a government office. I'm able to start a process and end the process without talking to a person and feel satisfied with that with the outcome. All right. Why? Because they have built out their AI to totally understand their business ecosystem and to be responsive. That's a lot of work. You know, AI has gone far in the whole digitization process, but I want to thank you for that. Now, I want to now open up the floor. I learned a lot today from Jamil, and for the public, I want to say Jamil is not only helping you to import and export your products. She's a professional because she also provides training in this field, all right, that bring you up to speed. Jamel is one of those person that ensures that she goes to the ground, she gets the information, and she's totally up to date with all of the data to ensure that you get the best results that you need in your import and export experience. With that being said, I'm going to open up the conversation now as we look at what it takes to become a subject matter expert. You've listened to Jamil, but I think, you know, all of us here, we had our own experiences, we have our own processes to becoming a subject matter expert. One of the things that I want to talk about is what it takes to become a sales communication professional and why is it important. Your business will fail if you do not have the right sales processes and the right salespeople. Understanding sales communication processes or becoming a sales communication professional can open tremendous door for you. Why? Because as a sales communication professional, it really helps you to understand how to collect data, how to analyze data, and how to leverage data to your advantage. And you need data, you need information to make informed and educated decision in business. Getting into business and achieving your competitive edge is not about wishful thinking. It's not about guesstimation. It's about data collection. It's about data analytics. It's about data implementation. And becoming a subject matter expert really helps you, a subject matter expert in this field of a sales communication professional, really helps you to achieve so much more. So, as a sales communication professional, I think it's so important for you to have the right mindset. And I will go later on into what is a right mindset. I'm going to just give a brief here now before I open up. In my experience, I have worked with so many young persons in sales, and I find the method of approach that is being used to teach young persons to master the sales process leaves more to be desired. Why? Because the method that I'm seeing many persons are using is say, okay, understand the product. And now you understand the product, just go out into the field and sell. That is what I call the push factors of sale. You train persons to do the cold calling, you train persons to do the direct sale. And very often, to me, that takes the sting out of the sales process. And what happens, you find that the retention rate in sales is not consistent. the turnover rate is very, very high because of the experience of that young salesperson. They're not enjoying that experience. And I can say it's real because in my network of team players and person I've trained, I can recall putting them to make cold call. And guess what? They freeze. And then they say, this is something that I don't ever want to do again. And you have to now innovate strategies. So I work them through different processes. We educate them on what is the pull factors of sale. We incorporate the theory with the practice. And guess what? Those same persons today, you can't get them off the cold calling because they have learned some of the essential elements of the sales process. And in closing, I want to say some of those essential processes of the sales process is not just about you understanding your MVO, which is your minimum viable offer, most viable offer, your maximum viable offer, but it's also about you taking the time to understand your MVTM, which is your minimum viable target market, the most viable target market, or your maximum viable target market. To understand your target market, and believe me when I say this, you don't understand your target market unless you have data. And what are the data that you need? You need demographic data, psychographic data, and geographic data. All of this influences how they are likely to respond to your value offer. And as a sales communication professional, if you don't know this, you're undermining the process of your sales outcome. So I'm just going to pause here for now. One of the areas that we deal in is how to make people sales communication professional, how to nurture people into becoming sales communication professional, because every business depends on this. So it's having clear target, knowing that this is what you want to become, and it's about having the right mindset. And I'm going to talk next about what is a strong value proposition, but I'm not going to go into it now. I'm going to give Paul and Peter and even Jamil an opportunity to chime in terms of the importance of sales or any other area that you think is relevant to becoming a subject matter expert.
Well, very interesting. And I agree with everything that everybody has said so far, which I usually do. Everybody's a salesperson, whether you know it or not. Everybody.
You're either good or bad at it. You're
Yeah.
either good or bad.
Yeah. Even somebody who doesn't sell products for money is a salesperson. You meet a girl or you got to sell yourself. You got to show your good sides, you're positive. You got to display it, and you have to ask for the sale. You have to close. So even if you're not doing it for money, you are a salesperson. And, you have to be a subject matter expert to be a good salesperson. You have to be. If you're not, then you're not going to make any money at all. If you sell cars, you have to know every brand new car on the lot, all the details, the differences between the models, and you have to know used cars. You have to know where the buttons are, how to display to the buyer why this is a benefit for them. They've described it for you. You listened. You showed them what they're looking for, but you still have to go further. So being a home, and we could go real deep on this with the master plan, and I think Peter will agree with this. And you have to be a subject matter expert with your own life. Okay. What does it take to become a subject matter expert? I think Jamil covered it really well, and so did you, Gary. It takes time, effort, study, and experience going out there trying to sell what you're trying to sell, whether it's a car or whether it's the product that you manufacture or the service that you provide in your business. You're not going to show up at a house and somebody's going to say, here's the money. I don't even want to hear what you have to say. Just come do the job. Nobody's going to do that. So you have to break down who they're buying. People only buy from people that they like. unless you're giving it to them, a $10,000 value for $1. People will buy from somebody they don't like under that circumstance, but nothing otherwise. So steps to the sale: meet, greet, common ground, and you got to do all these things quickly. Demonstrate the product, trial closes. It doesn't go right to close. There's trial closes in the middle. Would you want to buy this? What do you think about this? Do you like the color of the product, of the car? There's sales itself is a subject matter. I mean, there's two things right there. If you're selling a product, you have to know about the product. But if you're a salesperson, you have to be an expert on sales. What are the steps of the sale? When do you do this? There's always an appropriate time to do something. And those are the soft skills that we talk about a lot. There's a pause. You don't get right into a person's face and say, do you want to buy? There's a pause. You have to let them collect their thoughts. You have to know that they have the information that you provided, and you got to provide that info in the right way. There's a lot more to say. I could really ramble on this stuff because I like the subject, but those are my thoughts so far.
All right. I love what you're saying, Paul. It's not enough to just know your sales process, and you're correct with that. Give the client some time to think, give the client some time to, and see through the process. And I think better yet, take the time to understand your ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, the way that I look at sales is that long before the sales takes place, because you have data, you would have established that your value offer is relevant to the target market, because now you know who the target market is. You do that type of research, and you know that before you innovate products and services, you're doing something that is relevant. Because what I see very often, you start a business, you struggle in that business because you don't know who to target with your products and services, because you don't have data.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be certain that you're able to access the target market. Some people produce great products, but guess what? Because they didn't do, geographic analysis, they don't have a clear idea as to where to find the ideal client. And that's a barrier to the sales process. And just quickly, some of the other things that we see, happens. It is so important to be able to predetermine the client's ability and the client's willingness to pay for your products and services. And in most cases, you can't do this based on speculation. You need data, you need information. And if you're getting into business and you're going after capital, you're going after manufacturing, you're going after whatever, and you skate through these essential processes and you're not achieving your sales objective, perhaps it's because you really don't have a modern process in optimizing your sales outcome. But you've said a lot there, Paul. I love it. I just want to add that piece. Peter, I know that you may have a different perspective, a different sway on this. And coming out of yesterday's discussion, I would love to have your contribution on things that we might have discussed yesterday, or what it takes to become that subject matter expert. Well, then I'm going to come to Jamil. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, it's no different, because everything that we're doing it's about life, right? Everything that we're doing. So whether it is Jamil doing custom brokerage, Paul doing financial services, everything is designed to provide a solution to a problem where life is concerned. So life is really the platform, and within the parameters of life, every individual has their mission and their purpose that they have to exercise in bringing solutions to the problems that we have in the world. For Jamil, the problems that exist in her world is persons who want to, do international trade or exchange or, import export of products. So, and she says it well that what she did, based upon her, passion or her mission, she saw that this is something that would fit her skill sets, and she deep dive into learning what that is. So it's a life issue. It is a life issue. So there's three levels that I could say, or three dimensions by which subject matter mastery is concerned. And the number one is just what I said a while ago. What is the mission? What is our mission for whatever it is that we are seeking to do? What is our mission overall, even where life is concerned? And even to go into what you were saying concerning an individual discovering his targets and all of that, your mission is what is going to tell you the people that you are going to serve. And the next level after understanding what your mission is, now what are you going to actually do? So the mission is a concept. Then we will now have to understand what exactly is going to be the breakdown into practical steps. What are the things that necessitate? What are the things that I must do in order to accomplish this mission? And there we get about our mandate. So in order to do this mission, I have to do this. And then after the mandate, then what are the things we're going to say in order to communicate or in order to present the value of that mandate and the mission in a systematic way? And you said that quite eloquently about individuals having the data, so, and the sales process, the managing the sales process. What are the things that I'm going to actually say in distributing? And that principle, that those three principles of mission, mandate, and message, it fits just about in any profession. Because as I said again, it's a life issue, and all of us are placed here to solve a problem. Life, what is life? Life is a combination of challenges, and we seek to overcome those challenges for there to be productivity, for there to be peace, for there to be collaboration. And how do we handle all of that now? And this is where master planning is concerned, because if we're going to accomplish or do anything at all, the best way for us to go about it is to have that sit down with ourselves, with whoever it is that we're working with closely, extended, and we're going to design, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is why we're doing it, and this is the outcomes that we're looking for. So that master planning, that master design. So the communication process, or rather than let me move then, as you mentioned, the subject matter expertise. So becoming that subject matter expertise is to understand the subject of my mission. The mission is my subject that I'm going to master at a level of expertise. And the more I learn and I'm equipped to do that, it's the easier it becomes, the better it becomes for me to provide the solution that we are about. And life becomes the challenges, and there will be challenges, but when we understand the components that goes into it, when we do the adequate planning, when we do the designs that are necessary, then there is the results come thereafter.
All right, thanks for that share, Peter. I want to just look briefly at the website and where persons can get books on the sales communication process. But when I come back, I would love us to think about how mentorship and coaching and having a sponsor can in help you to become that subject matter expert. Because so far, I think having a good mentor, having a good coach, having a good sponsor can significantly accelerate uh, one's path to becoming a subject matter expert. What I want to do, I want to share with the public um, a website. Now, if you look on screen now, you will see that we have a very unique website on screen, which is the bestseller portal, and it reads Unleash Your Imagination. Dive into a world of endless possibilities with our ebooks and e-learning. Now, on this platform, you're going to have a lot of books that you can listen to. There's a lot of ebooks there. So today we are talking a lot about the importance of sales, how to become a sales communication professional. I want to say that we are not talking in isolation. We have many books to help you through that process. Now, if you look on screen, now when you go to the website, you go into bestsellerportal.org, and then you can come to the third icon at the top, which is products. You can click on ebooks or business. You can click on ebooks or business. I clicked on ebooks. Now, when you click on ebooks, you can see that we have 7 volumes of Master the Sales Communication Process. Now, each volume helps you to understand a variety of techniques and strategies that you need to be successful in business. All right. The volume 1, you will learn about what is your MVO. Your MVO meaning your minimum viable offer, most viable offer, and maximum viable offer. In this book, we talk a lot about why you should go to market with your minimum viable offer. Because to go with your maximum, it means that you need human resources, technical resources, and capital resources. And in most cases, you don't have all of this to go to market. All right. So we talk a lot about this. It's an excellent book for you to get. Volume 2 talks about access to capital at 0% APR. Though if you're in the developed world, the United States of America, there is a concept that we call credit financing. There's a concept that we call trade lines. This book goes into all of this to really help you to understand how to navigate some aspect of the financial world and raise seed funding to grow and scale your business. It's a beautiful book for you to get. Volume 3 talks about mastering media best practices. A beautiful book. You need to also understand the media. So there are 7 volumes of this book that I want to urge you to go to the website now and get a copy of this book. The next thing that I want you to do is to register for membership. It's free. All right. You just need to give us your name, email address, telephone number, area of interest. You can leave a note. Why I want you to come here, because we are building out a global platform where we are providing support to our community. As a member of the portal, you can get access to some of the best and brightest persons to help you in business. It's not only to help you to understand the theory, but it's also give you the support to apply the practical. And also we have Paul and we have a number of other financial subject matter experts to help you access capital. You will be exposed to business summits throughout the year. So go get registered for this platform, and we are excited to work with you to help you to grow your vision and take your business to the next stage. So with that being said, I want to come back, Jamil, Paul, and Peter, to where I left off. How does mentorship, how does coaching, how does having a sponsor help the individual to become a subject matter expert and to find their competitive edge. Who wants to go? Take that first.
I'll just go because I know I have to leave soon. But
Okay.
basically, what you want to do is find someone that knows the material better than you, so they can answer your questions. Like I said, questions are very important. And like the guy that trained me for my exam, the one thing he told us to do was come in and ask questions. A lot of times, the people that were in the class, they weren't asking questions, so I knew they didn't do the work because if they did it, they would know exactly what questions to ask. So we would do the way we did our training is we would do the actual past customs broker test, do it in a test taking environment. Then you go over it, whatever you don't understand, that's what you should have been coming into the class and asking. A lot of people weren't doing that. So if you are asking questions on things you don't understand, you can learn everything that you need to know.
All right. Thanks for that share,
Hmm.
Jamil. And I know that you have an 8 o'clock appointment. I know you're a busy lady. So I want to thank you again for coming and sharing. And any last
Thank
word you
you.
want to share before leaving?
The most important thing is if you decide to get in this industry, whether you're an importer, exporter, or you want to become a customs broker, just always keep learning. Rules change all the time, and sometimes people think just because it was one way before, that it's going to be the same way, and that's not the case. So just keep learning. I also offer classes, which
I guess her alarm went off
sorry,
again.
my alarm went off. I got to get my daughter
I
up.
thought
But
so. All right.
I also offer classes, so if people are interested, they could check out my website, gesturebroker.com. But thank you guys for having me here. I gotta go right now. Have a good one.
All right, Jamil. See you next week. We'll talk soon. All right. Yes. So that was a great share by Jamil. Um, ask the right questions. Ask the right questions. But what are your thoughts, Guy? I do believe that mentorship, coaching, having a sponsor is so important. Um, Before giving my views, what are your thoughts? I do believe to accelerate the process of self mastery, to accelerate that process of becoming a subject matter expert, while you need to do the heavy lifting, what I've seen is that having a good mentor, a good coach, a right support system, and sponsors behind you, it helps a whole lot.
Well, there is no question, no doubt at all that what you just said is 100% correct. It's the right coach, it's the right mentor, not just any coach. Before I understood business coaching, I I looked at it from a distance, and then I met a business coach, and this woman really impressed me with her genius. She covered, I mean, I just learned from about what she did. She told me about it. She told me scenarios with clients that she's working on, and the small tweaks and differences that she made or she would advise them to make that they had no idea about. Some people were afraid to raise their prices, but they're losing money. But you're afraid to raise your prices. You're stuck in the sand. You're stuck in the quicksand. So many small details that I can't even go into all of them. So having the right coach, the right mentor is vital, vital, vital. Let me say it one more time. And let's look at it like this. Karate, you progress through the belts. You start at white belt, you progress, you get to black belt. But not everybody knows this. That first black belt you wrap around your waist is probationary. You're not a master. You are not a master. And you can still get beat up. Yeah, I mean, that's the truth of it. You can still get beat up.
Because you're not doing the legwork.
Yeah, well, it's you get to a certain point. That's a probationary black belt. Then you go first, second, third, all the way up to
Turn
10.
down,
It
yeah.
takes a lifetime, 30, 20 years after you get your probationary black belt to get to master level. So that's one way to look at it. And here's another way to look at it. Somebody goes to law school. they get a 4-year degree, then they go to law school. That's intensive additional training to get them to their field of expertise. But the new graduate from law school, do you want him defending you in the Supreme Court? No, you don't. You want somebody who's highly experienced, and that comes with time. That comes with serious effort from that attorney. You graduate from law school, if you don't focus and the experience, every case that you try, there might be a little thing in there that just clicks, and you're like, aha, I'm going to remember this for the next time. I'm not going to say they're tricks, but they're little nuggets of experience and wisdom that you can put into use on the next case. And then you add those up over a lifetime, and all of a sudden you've got 10,000 of those little nuggets that you learned from. Then you're a master attorney.
You know, Paul, you have said something that is so profound, because I do believe that, and I like it when you say the black belt is as a probational, first dan is as probational. That's you graduating, having your degree, and you have that degree, that having that first degree is where we call the theory. And in most cases, because of how some academic institution is built out, the theory is not immediately married to the practical, because in some cases, when you have the theory coincide uniquely with the practical, that person, even in graduating with their first dan, they have so much of experience in applying the concepts that they are at that position where they can actually exercise predictable outcome. All right. And there's one aspect that I call the art of, like, even in sales communication process, there's what I call the art, and there's what I call the science. You don't ever get the science unless you can come to the point where you have predictable outcome. All right. And you only have predictable outcome by experience, building up a whole plethora of experience and data and testing, and you now understand what steps to take to achieve a predictable outcome. And that in itself is what makes you the subject matter expert. It's not just having the theory. So I really love what you would have said there just now. There's a couple of things that I just want to, but before I do, Peter, you didn't chime in on mentorship, coaching, and sponsors. What are your take?
Well, it always go back that everything, just as I said a while ago, it's a life issue, and there's always somebody who has gone down the road, the same road that we're going. There's always somebody who have actually gone down that road before us. So when we reach out to those individuals and learn, we do not want to learn by our own mistakes. It's never a good thing to learn by our own mistakes. When somebody else have already passed through the same path that we are traveling. So in connecting with individuals who are more knowledgeable than us and seeking to, get their take, to get their, coaching on a matter, then we are able to move faster in that direction that we're going. So, that's basically it. And life, as I say, what is everything that professions, everybody in their various professions, we're all in a life thing together. Each person has picked their expertise, their specialty, by which they are going to, administer their mission to the community. And so, as we do that in a collaborative way, then we are able to understand and apply more effectively that which we are doing, so, yeah.
I like that.
You're muted.
Oh, yes. I was saying, go ahead, Paul. You have a point?
No, I just agreed with Peter. I said, I like that. I like how Peter framed that and stated it.
All right. I want to add some other perspective to the conversation. And why I want to add this, because to me, it's not just you becoming a subject matter expert. It's not you finding your competitive edge as a subject matter expert and that's it. Because let me say what, in my lifetime, I've seen many persons invest time, talent, and resources. I've talked with parents that say, I have sent my kids to study 2 degrees, 3 degrees, and they are still not at home with any one of those degrees that they would have had. Because this is what happened. They recognize that after studying for a degree in art, it might be painting, depending on where you are in the world, that art degree is not going to open up tremendous financial possibilities for you, depending on where you are in the world. So over years of interfacing with parents and recognizing that you can become a master, but that mastery is not solid enough to give you life sustenance in terms of income of offsetting your health. So what we've incorporated into a lot of our program is what we call stress testing your area of mastery. And you're stress testing your area of mastery against a number of things. And one of the things that we look at a whole lot is that you want to identify if what you're doing is going to be viable for the long term. And viability for the long term, it also means that you need data, because guess what's happening? The realities on the ground are changing constantly. Technology is changing. We are now hearing that, if you were training to do factory work, if you were training to do transportation services, and you're thinking about doing it the traditional way, guess what? In a year or two, you're going to become obsolete, because you have driverless vehicles that are moving vehicles along. So if your study is not encompassing or taking into consideration all the changes, the technological changes that is taking place, you can have an expertise. But the first part that I talked about earlier, you don't have relevance because you're now outdated. So there's so much that has to be poured into, your area of expertise. And what I like about the dynamics that we have, these are things that we look at all the time. So we know for sure that when someone comes into our platform for business or for life, we're not just, they're going to be given updated information, but along with updated information, they will be exposed to what the future looks like and how to prepare yourself to deal with future expectations and even the unexpectations. Because if you are not, you could find that you develop in areas of expertise where there is no relevance for you in tomorrow's future. And tomorrow's is just around the corner. And this is why I think having a good mentor, having a good coach, having a good sponsor can play a tremendous role in not only accelerating the learning curve, but is to ensure that the students get the best advice to succeed in whatever they're doing. Because technology is affecting things tremendously.
Right.
Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, no, I was just agreeing, because when we were doing our research and we wanted to know, what our offering that we were, or value offer that we're presenting to the marketplace, personally we checked, and when we discovered, how viable this is in helping, in making an impact on the community. And that is one of the things, how much people are there that needs our services. And then we realize that every human being on the face of the earth has a story. They have a expertise. There's something that they have to say to the community. And that is one of the things, that we want to be able to do, as you're saying right now. You mentioned about that individual who, depending on where they are in the world, is that subject matter that they are doing, is it viable? How can it, is it sustainable? So when we recognize that every individual in on the face of the planet has a story, and they need to learn how to tell their story, we have a sense of comfort in understanding that we're serving a very large marketplace. Then to take it a little bit deeper, and one of the questions that we look at even now, we're examining now, is a question: what's how can we solve? Why then is so much problems in the world? Why is there so much problem in the world? You know, and then we're discovering that is individuals who do not yet discover what their solution is for the world. So if we do not know what our solution is, then more likely then we are contributing to the problems. So it is for individuals, as you're mentioning now, to find their place. And it always come back to, there has to be the research, there has to be the data. The data will tell you, give you some sense of information, the planning, of what it is. And planning is not something that we do one time and then it is something that we're always working on, always tweeting it. As you mentioned that, with the rise of technology, preparedness now, somebody has to be, as I mentioned, having that vision, because having the plan, it gives you a better perspective in what you're seeing, and then you are prepared. Okay, this is what is happening in my industry. How am I going to make amends? How am I going to prepare for those changes? And so having that sense of mission, and having that sense of vision, and now preparing, designing the different outcomes that will be necessary, the different tweaks and changes that needs to be had, so that we keep true to the outcome, and then having somebody then to help us whenever we know what we want to do, and we can get that person to bounce that idea off, or to help us to see more clearly. Then we can have us, even in the most difficulties, in the most difficult times, we can still have a sense of peace and mission, a purpose, because we have enough information. We know that we have picked a path that is most viable, and we can navigate through those challenging moments until we're able to get to the other side. So individuals listening to this broadcast today, we're just saying to them that be prepared, understand your place. When you understand your place, and I'm always encouraging people to ask the right questions. When you're able to ask the right questions, you will come you'll arrive at the right answers.
Wow. Can I add something, Gary, please?
Yeah, man, go right ahead.
Okay. Just going off of what was just said by Peter, knowing your place, knowing your role, and from what you said, this is an old one, but don't try to sell ice in Alaska. They got enough of it. They can go out to the lake with a chainsaw and get all the ice they want. Don't sell ice cream to Eskimos. They don't want it. They want a hot meal. And you get a degree in art. You're a painter, but you live where I live at, Warren, Ohio. Okay, you better move. Better be prepared to go to a big city. You want to be the paparazzi and take photos. It's not going to happen in Warren. You're going to have to move to Los Angeles and California. And I've had one real life example of this. Okay, what you see behind me, industrial hemp fiber factories. That's a 12-ton per hour system. There's 3 top manufacturers in the world of this type of equipment. None of them are in America, because it only became legal in America in 2018. They're all in Europe. Now, there are American manufacturers trying to make this equipment, and I want American manufacturers to make it. We all want made in America. We want made in America, industrial size, 9-ton per hour and 12-ton per hour processing systems. That's what we want That's what we need. What American companies are doing that? None. There's one that is trying. I'm not going to name names. They seem very nice, but here's their plan, and it's really tying into what we're talking about right here. They manufacture a 1 ton per hour processing system. That's a hobby level. It's hand fed. There's no conveyor belts. It's not industrial level. When we provide financing to help people build these factories, it has to be industrial scale, industrial level,
Mhm.
from reputable manufacturers who've been in business and have units operating that we can point to and say this is the best in the world. I want America to be the best in the world. I want everybody everywhere in the world to be the best in their own world. But as far as American manufacturing for this type of equipment, when they started this company, apparently they looked and they said, we're going to make a 1 ton per hour system. They didn't say we're going to make a 3.5 ton per hour system. We're going to make a 7 ton per hour system, and we're going to have our top of the line 9 or 10 ton per hour system. That is what's needed. That is what is needed. A 1 ton per hour system is not needed by anybody who wants to do anything at massive scale and make a lot of money. That's something that you put in the barn and you play with. So they chose their target, but I don't know how many sales they're going to make, because that's an expensive hobby to buy that 1 ton per hour processing system just to play with it in your barn. Now, a lot of people spend a lot of money on expensive things just to play with them, me included. But this is a specific tool that only does one thing. And it just should have been bigger right from the beginning, because in 3 years, from what I've understand, they've made 2 sales. That's not good.
Wow, that's definitely not good at all. And you see, it brings me back to what we were talking about earlier on the importance of sales. I think very often you're caught up with the potential of the business to cash flow without being fully socialized to market realities. All right. And it is so important. And with all of my students, I always say, and clients, I would always say you need data. If you're going to start a business process, what data do you have about your client? That's self-mastery. That's mastering your craft. I mean, you have data now. Are you building out relationship with that client? It's a process, because the ability to cash flow is going to depend on the level of relationship that you have. And one of the things that we see is a common thread. Many businesses are not able to cash flow because they're not able to break through what we call the known factor, the like factor, and the trust factor. And Paul, you said something early on. People are comfortable buying and investing with people that they know, like, and trust. And if you don't establish that, it's a barrier to your sales effort. All right. And the more data you have, it makes it so much more easier to achieve that sales objective, because you may have a very good product, but the way it's being introduced to the market is being introduced by default for potential users to put a barrier. All right. So there's so much that you've just said there. In 3 years, they only made 2 sales is not an encouraging at all. So they need expertise on this side. Perhaps not just one expert. You need someone that can do data collection and analytics and market research. You need persons that can interpret those data. And you need persons that can leverage the data into commercial productions, into public relation campaigns, into a range of different things to really help that business to run smoothly. And I'm talking and I'm smiling because we already knows some of the major challenges that businesses are faced with in finance and business scale up. And that's why we have those books, Paul, Master the Sales Communication Process, because it goes into a deep business ecosystem that can help businesses to really understand, before you get started, it's important to look before you leap. And part of looking is to ensure that you understand the moving parts.
Mhm.
And, in investment, we say something, you don't want to make front end investment decisions. And front end meaning that you hear the public say, hey, go invest in this, you're making money here and you're going to make money. That's a foolish way to go do an investment. You want to do back end analytics. All right. Back end means that you have the history of the company you're invested in. You have data on the management teams. You have data on their ability to make dividend payout. You have that kind of data, but in most cases, you don't have it to make the back end analytics. Get an expert. Then there's where the mentorship, the coaching, the sponsors come into play. But as we begin to wrap up today's program, I want to also introduce some other thoughts here. We know that, self-mastery, we know that becoming that subject matter expert is based on habits. It's your habits. All right. I think habits define who we are. We either have good or bad habits, whichever one, it ultimately defines who we are. And what I have found as being healthy habits to help people to become the subject matter expert is reading, writing, uh, having conversation like how we are having here, and being able to teach. All right, being able to teach. I see Paul is smiling. So, um, I and myself, we talk about this. Reading really helps you to expand your knowledge. But people today, instead of reading more, they're reading less. What we have done to make it so simple for, to help people to find their mastery, we are now developing ebooks. You have the traditional books, but you have the ebooks. So you can just plug it into your earpiece and, you can download it to your computer. You could be in your, do your study or in your office, and the book is playing out to you consistently. So you have that information transfer. Why, if you want to be a sales communication professional and your habits around that is poor, you're not going to be successful, because instead of you committing perhaps a half an hour every day to learn something about what is the sales communication, professional, you're committing no time. You spend more time on the gadget, swiping the gadget. And myself and my wife, we talk about this all the time, because guess what? People spend more time on their phone, swiping to reach the bottom of Instagram, and they just never get there, but they're swiping and they spend hours there. Why not commit that time to you, to reading, to developing a fair degree of mastery, to find your competitive edge? And reading is one of those things that helps. But Paul, I mean, I know you have a lot of thoughts around the reading, writing, talking, and teaching, but let me hear your share.
Well, maybe they're not thoughts. It just struck me. You said reading, writing, and the next logical thing is arithmetic.
Talking.
Reading. That's an American thing. Like, you could call me a hillbilly. My mom was from West Virginia, right? So I fit the definition. But
Gotcha.
reading, writing, arithmetic. Instead of arithmetic, it's a 3 R's.
Okay.
Reading, writing,
Arithmetic.
arithmetic.
Got you. Yeah. And there's just so much of good books out there. I'm going to be biased and I'm going to say get Master the Sales Communication Process. And, for us, we were on a mission to really help companies to nurture what we call the sales communication professionals. There's so much to learn. Your Salesforce It really puts smiles on your face when you see that you put in smiles on a student face or a client face that had dread sales, but now because they understand something more about sales, they understand not just the art, but they understand the science of sale. They're smiling because by mastering the ability to apply both the art and science of sales and marketing, they're seeing that they're getting better results. Because guess what? The sales is never about what you have to offer. That's important, all right? But it's if what you have to offer is not relevant, is not aligned to people needs, wants, and expectation, and their dreams, hopes, and aspiration, you're undermining your sales process. And people are more willing to buy from you when you're providing them something that deals with their pain point and their
Right.
touch point and their needs. And you need to understand all this. So, when you understand how to sell from this standpoint based on data, it makes things so much more
Yeah,
better.
that's true.
So,
And one of the things that I, in getting people to understand, as you mentioned, individuals, we become so gadget oriented where we become looking at these gadgets. And this is how these companies are designed, because their subject, their product is to get you to become the product. So if you are the product, then you are serving their bottom line. So getting up individuals to understand that they have to become not a consumer of other person's information, not just to spend our time watching the actor act without understanding that the actor is doing a service that he's getting paid for. And each of us has something that we need to demonstrate to the community that will uplift the community overall. And getting individuals to understand that they have that value, because one of the issues that we discover we're working with individuals is that people have a poor view on their skills. They have a poor view on the value, their innate value that they have to present to the community. Their story. Everybody think, most people think that my story, who wants to hear my story? But inside that story, and we're saying to individuals that inside that story are triumphs that they have overcome, difficulties in their life that they have overcome, that other people, there's a million other people out there who are struggling with those same difficulties that they have already overcome. And going back to mentorship now. So if I have overcome, certain issues in my life, then there is somebody who is seeking a mentor. There's somebody who is seeking to learn from those victories that you have had. Now you can package. You mentioned now how to digitize, our products and services. Now you can digitize that solution, that thing that you're able to have. Say, for instance, I'm working with one young lady now, and her book is called Rejection to Perfection. And while we were communicating her story, there were some issues that she had when her mother died. And after her mother died, she had some experiences that she had to learn how to forgive. And there are so many persons in our world today who are battling with hurts, this being going through harsh conditions, and they need also to learn how to let things go. Now when somebody can come alongside them and teach them that, look, that situation that you're dealing with is not serving you, you need to let it go, and here is what I have been through, and here is how I have been able to let go that situation. Now what that is, it's a relationship that is now teaching somebody how to overcome the challenges in their lives. Now, so the new economy that we're going to, we're talking about AI, and we're having automations and all of that. So if there is ever a time when individuals have to touch deep within themselves and find human solutions by which now AI becomes a servant, or becomes becomes a simple product that people have around their houses that help us to do what we do better. So the self-driving car will be there, but I'm sitting in the self-driving car assisting somebody to overcome life challenges. So the world can be a better place just like that. So in our approach to the community, we're just getting people to understand you have a solution inside of you. And if I should take even what Miles Monroe, one of the individuals that really inspired me along this journey, Miles Monroe said that the graveyard is the one of the richest places on the planet. Why? Because people go back with the graveyard with the solution to cancer, the solution to issues, the solutions to the problems, the massive problems that our world, everybody was sent on earth with a solution, but most people do not take the time out to find what that solution is and to package that solution and to present it to the marketplace. But that is why we're saying, our program, that is why Legacy Chronicles is so important. That is why the master plan is so important, because we want individuals to understand the world can get better when we now discover what our solution is that we're presenting to our world.
All right. That was some great points. And, I do believe that, yes, we all have a story to tell. And just to add some validity to what you would have said, when we listen to celebrities and we hear their struggles and we hear some of the current challenges that they're going through, I think it helps us as people to get a better appreciation that, everyone goes through something, everyone has a story. But I do believe that sometimes you have a better appreciation when it comes from a celebrity as against the average person. I do believe the average person too can become that celebrity. And I want to commend you on the work that you're doing, because I think part of what you're doing, which the bestseller portal is also setting out is doing, is to take ordinary people and figure out how to take them to that celebrity status. It's how
Right.
to give them visibility, reach, how to position them to make impact. So they too can now touch the world with their stories. So I love that comment. All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping up now. So I'm going to start with Paul. Um, Paul is a financial expert. For those who might be joining us for the first time, of course, for this week we have looked at soft content. Next week we're going to be going into some financial matters. You're going to be learning so much more about the financial market. And of course, we're going to blend it up with some soft conversation. But, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Paul, can you really, give us your closing thoughts on, you can look at what we looked at today. You can also talk a bit about yourself and, your value offer. So, really help the public to understand some more about who's Paul Whitehouse. All to you, Paul.
Okay. Well, as far as what we talked about today, subject matter expert. We're all subject matter experts. Seriously, your first job at a grocery store, because that was my first job, you have to know what aisle something is in if somebody asks you the question, where's this at? So is that a subject matter expert? It is. It's a body of knowledge that they don't know, and they're coming to you for the answer. So there's lightweight versions of subject matter experts. There's heavyweight versions. You're a nuclear scientist. That's a subject matter expert right there. And there's everything in between. But I think they're all important. Matter of fact, the nuclear scientist and the first job at the grocery store, they are equally important, because people are receiving answers every day on what they need information on. Where's the butter? Aisle 17. Thank you. Makes it easier. You just made that person's life easier. An attorney, your doctor. I mean, can you guys? I'm trying, and I can't necessarily think of somebody who's not a subject matter expert. Athletes, they're expert in exactly what they do. Animals are subject matter experts. If we're going to go real deep and get a little crazy on the conversation, right? A tiger, a lion, a bear, they're experts at hunting large animals. They do it better than any human or any other animal. Okay. A bee is a subject matter expert in collecting pollen to make honey. I'm going to sit here for an hour after we get off and try to think of some occupation or something that's not a subject matter expert, because I can't think of anything right now. Becoming a subject matter expert, do it. Pick the subject that you're drawn to and do it. It's not hard. Study, read, and I like what you say about writing, because I learned from writing. Repetition, you write it down, you remember it a lot more than if you just read it. At least some people do. So as far as becoming a subject matter expert, do it, because people will come to you for that information. People will pay you for that information, and they'll often pay you very well. They'll pay you what you're worth and more, because you're worth a lot. That wraps it up for me so far. And I love the subject. Subject matter experts is very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for that share, Paul. Peter?
Yeah, and it's something that I wanted to just highlight a little too.
Paul,
about
Peter,
Mhm.
1 second, 1 second. Paul, I didn't get you to talk about the profession, um, your financial portfolio. You only talk on the subject. Coming back to you, Peter.
Mhm.
You want me to go? You want me to just make a...
Yeah, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Patriot Business Finance Consultants, Paul at patriotbfc.com. Website, patriotbfc.com. Any state, any industry, any credit, any equipment. Whatever you need for your business, we are subject matter experts in that field. And we're not going to leave a stone unturned to get you what you need. We know all angles from A to Z. Of course, we're always still learning, but we got the bases covered really well. And we can help you get the best financing, lowest cost of money, and the most advantageous financing for you. A lot of times people come to me and they want a line of credit to go buy equipment. Well, I'm a subject matter expert, and I tell them right off the go, that's a big mistake. And there's reasons for that. It'll take too long to go into it, but that's a mistake. Here's the right program for you. That's the wrong one. This is the right one. Let's get you on the right path.
All right, Paul, thanks for that share.
Yes.
So there you have it. He's an expert in terms of finance, and they leave no stone unturned to ensure that you get capital to grow and scale your business. Peter,
Yeah, it's an understanding that people have as well concerning celebrity, and they think that Oprah will do a better job in being or offering mentorship to somebody. But then what we do understand is that Oprah is so much far ahead in the game that most people will not approach Oprah, or she's, whatever the barriers are to get to Oprah, most people will not, follow go after Oprah. But then if they can find somebody that is 2 or 3 steps ahead of them in that specialty or that subject matter they are seeking to learn, they feel much more, familiar, or they feel much more that this is somebody that they can approach. So what we're saying to even or into individuals that we're working with, to say that because you are not way out there as yet, there are hundreds and hundreds, thousands and millions of people even who will more accept the offering from you because you are not so far down the road. and they will feel more comfortable listening to what that person has to say, because they're more, they can have that camaraderie, they can have that connectivity with that individual. So we're saying to individuals, do not be turned off because they're not still celebrity yet, because there's somebody who is still looking for that ordinary person that they can learn from, that they feel as if they can have that greater connection with. So, and that is what, we designed where the Legacy Chronicles program is concerned, because there's a process to it. Before you can become that individual who has the quote unquote celebrity status, individuals need to become familiar with their own story. Most persons have, because they have lived.
Let me say something based on what you said, because you're right. I don't want to lose the trend of thoughts. In my experience, I find that there are persons who are not visible, but they have more to offer than some celebrities. All right. The only difference is that the person who is visible, they were able to use their means to get out there.
Right.
There are many persons who are not visible, but their substance is solid.
Right.
Right. Because there's a cost of visibility, But I just want to mention that, just to support some of the points that you made. Not because you're not visible enough,
right,
means that you don't have substance to affect change. You might even be better than those who are already out there. So I just want to share that.
And that is so true, and that is so true, and that is what we are bringing our audience and the people that I work with to understand that you have something, and not when we talk about mission and vision, every mission and a vision has a recipient. So when we discover the vision and the mission that we're about, and we are determined to really solve the problem in the world that we were designed. Remember, this is about being sent, right? We're not just jumping up to go do something. Having a mission, you have a sense of purpose, that this is what I am called to do. It's a calling. It has a drive. It's something that we fit into. And when we are married into our purpose and our mission like that, then there is what you call, you spoke about, Gary, there is this pull factor that exists as well. That what you are presenting, somebody is also looking for that something. So when you present that, when individuals discover, and even to utilize the same landscape that we're talking, the social media landscape, to communicate their value, to come in a setting like this. And this is what we're actually doing, because we could find so many other things to do with our time. But we do understand that there are individuals out there who need to understand these simple processes. There are individuals out there who need to understand debt mitigation. There are individuals out there who just went into a mortgage and they have no clue how they're going to analyze, what that mortgage means over 30 years. And they need somebody to break it down to them, to say that if you just take these simple steps, the big difference it will be to them over 30 years, and how they can navigate the time and the sequences in which they pay off that debt. That is so much of value to that person who will listen to this program and walk away feeling that wow, the wow factor, just that simple thought. And the change is everything in their life. That person that thinks that, they need, the bank said no, and so now they turn off themselves to say that, boy, it cannot be done. But then now to come to a meeting and to hear that Paul Whitehouse is saying, no, look, we have a process by which there are several other options there are available. No matter where you are approved. It's just a matter of breaking down that big goal into manageable pieces, and we apply it. And this is the message that we want to communicate to our audience, that the value that you have, somebody is looking for that value. So take the time to plan it out. And this is where the master planning coming now, because you have to know how to say it. And coming back to now that you have to now write it. And what writing, this is why with the Legacy Chronicles program is so effective, because we get people to write your story, to become familiar with yourself, because we spend so much time looking outside that we do not take enough time to understand who we really are and how we can communicate those values. And this is what we empower individuals to do. We have a project that we're presenting now, mylegacyproject.net, where we break down in a simple fashion how individuals can write their personal life master plan, their family life master plan, their community life master plan, and even up to the corporate understanding of what the corporate master plan is. When they go to mylegacyproject.net, it will give them a better understanding and an approach by which they can start to make decisions and start take those simple steps even right now.
Great share, great share, and Peter. Love that share. In conclusion, I just want to emphasize, in business and in life, as Paul would have said, we all are involved in selling. We sell ourselves and to our spouse. We sell ourselves to the community, to the workforce. We are either good at it or we are bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can make a choice. If you know that you need room, you have room for development, and you can make a choice to, be comfortable and complacent with where you are. Or you can make another choice, is to go to the bestseller portal and get those books, master the sales communication process, and really give yourself a fighting chance to enhance your sales pitch, to enhance your sales communication abilities, and by extension, become a subject matter expert.
Mm-hmm.
I believe everyone, one of the things that you need in life, regardless of your area of specialty, is you need to understand how to be a sales communication professional. So in this book also, you will learn a lot about what is personal branding. And Peter Program helps in personal branding. You need to understand areas of mastery, all right? And you need to ask yourself, how do you want to be known? How do you going to position yourself to be liked and to be trusted? And you shouldn't leave the room open for this to be accidental. You want this to be intentional. And what can better help you to achieve intentional outcome than having your master plan? So that's important. I just want to emphasize quickly again, in the sales communication process, there's so much of beautiful things for you to take away. You will learn things like how to command attention, how to pique interest, how to arouse desire, how to move the client into action, and most importantly, how to make impact. And none of this is accidental. It's intentional. It's a movement. It's a flow of activities that you need to learn, apply, and master if you want to achieve better outcome with the things that you're doing. How to not just win a client, make impact with a client, but are you looking at, converting a client for life? And it's not about, ego. It's about you having a solid commitment to understand people. It's about you having a solid commitment to providing products and services to reach those expectations of people and to exceed the expectations of people. It's about you getting out of your ego and saying, I need to put people first. And with that type of attitude, you're going to see a whole new dynamic start to take place in your sales effort. In a relationship also, if the relationship is all about me, myself, and I, and it's not about taking the time to understand your spouse, what makes her smile, what makes her happy, what makes her excited. And like a sales communication professional, you do all of those things to ensure that you bring, smile to her face all the time. It's no major difference in the sales process. Are you able to bring joy and happiness to your clientele base? Are you able to satisfy their expectation consistently above and beyond their expectations? So these are important concepts for us to look at. So there is so much to unpack. So I just want to end on this point by saying that today's program came to you with the kind compliments of Global Capital Inc., 10X Branding and Marketing LLC, and Pitch Deck 101 LLC out of the US. I want to encourage you to join us tomorrow for another broadcast of The Competitive Edge. And again, I want to say a big shout out to our viewers who has been viewing this program from across the world. And we do thank you for taking the time out to be a part of our community. And do again, use the bestseller portal, become a member so you can become now part of the inner circle. And there's a lot of benefit when you become part of the inner circle. You know, one of the programs that we are offering which is the High Net Worth Investors Guide. It's about $50,000 US dollars to do that program. But we're going to sponsor many, many persons to go through that program. That program is going to run for about 9 months to a year. But the kind of information that you're going to get when you come into that program is going to be transformational. It's not about the theory, but you're going to have the theory, how to start and scale a business. But you're going to have Paul. He's going to say, okay, this is how we start a business. This is how you access the capital. And you're going to have players from Global Capital Inc. telling you exactly how to manage debt. So you're able to get optimum results from this entire experience. So when you become a part of this ecosystem, we are literally going to be working with you to show you how to 10x your business cash flow and how to position your business to become a great brand. So there's a whole lot at stake. So we encourage you to join the community so you can be in the inner circle and you can get access to information that we will not necessarily discuss on this platform. All right. So with that being said, I want to thank my team players, Paul Whitehouse and Peter Guscott, for being here today. And you have been valuable and contributed to this platform. And I want to say, kudos to you guys. And we do this again tomorrow. See everyone in listening and viewing land.